There's nothing wrong with the game whatsoever. It functions completely normally, is highly performant. I'm not working on Heartbound right now. I'm working on Block Game. All those people who are making videos about that are fucking morons. They should probably just check the Steam updates. That's like, there's literally an update that goes out the first week of every month. All those people who are making videos about that are fucking morons. They should probably just check the Steam updates. That's like insane behavior. Yeah, they're just content farming. Like here, I'll even show it to you, man. Even though people are like review bombing the shit out of the game. You have a favorite part of Heartbound? Yeah.
Show them, Jerry. Oh, dear God, no. Oh, dear God, no.
In 2023, I, like so many others, suddenly found my YouTube Shorts feed flooded with content from somebody named Jason Thor Hall, otherwise known as Pirate Software. Now, I had never heard of the guy, but as a hobbyist game developer myself, and with Blizzard titles like Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, and World of Warcraft all being among my favorite games of all time, it was like the algorithm gods had picked this guy just for me. I was a big fan of his pro-indie, you-can-do-it rhetoric, and the fact that he worked at Blizzard on some of my favorite games had me interested, captivated, you might say enthralled. But the more I watched him, the more he began to irritate me. Everything he said sounded like it was written by a chatbot trained exclusively on Reddit threads from 2015.
Chaotic objects in a mixture. Lasagna is a sandwich. Pizza is a sandwich.
I very quickly grew tired of his stupid MS Paint chalkboard and his lame empty platitudes like, oh, you don't know how to make games? Go make games. Then you'll know how to make games. So when the whole World of Warcraft OnlyFans thing happened, I was bricked up. Seeing him get dragged and humiliated for being the roach of the century had me feeling some type of way. That was a good week. So now that you know what I think of Pirate Software and how I got there, what I really want to focus on is his game Heartbound. If you're watching this, then you've probably already seen the videos by Coding Jesus going over just how bad Pirate Software's code is. As a programmer myself, I can attest that, yeah, it's pretty bad, about the level that you'd expect from a C student in a Programming 101 course, and I feel confident in that assessment because I got a C in my Programming 101 course. That being said, bad code does not necessarily mean bad game any more than good graphics mean good game, because a game is more than the sum of its parts. Great writing can save mediocre gameplay, and people will tolerate bad graphics if the game is fun. And some games just have a secret sauce to them that you can't quite put your finger on. For me, that game is Digimon World 2. Looks like shit, plays like shit, but I'm gonna be buried with a copy of that game. So does Heartbound have that secret sauce, or am I out $15 that would have been better spent on a fine Italian sandwich from my favorite local establishment?
Money!
I should have got the sandwich. To say Heartbound is the worst game I've ever played would be an unfair exaggeration, but to say it was enjoyable would be equally incorrect. There are periodic displays of competency. I didn't encounter any bugs, the music is decent to good, and there are some bits of dialogue that I did enjoy. The bad, however, outweighs the good roughly 100 to 1. The big thing being that this is barely a game, this is a walking simulator. There are two things to do in Heartbound. You walk, and you click on things. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you really need compelling dialogue with characters that say things people want to read, and Heartbound has neither. When you do get a break from the endless stream of text boxes, there's no gameplay to engage with, you're just looking for the next text box to not read. At no point did I feel like I was playing a video game, I felt like I was doing chores. I actually thought that Heartbound was supposed to be an RPG with random encounters and character progression, but no, not at all. There's one combat encounter that you actually do twice, and you fight it by playing these micro games like Energy Ball Tennis or click the correct buttons in order. It feels more like the kind of mechanic you use to, I don't know, open a lock or chop down a tree, which Pirate Software actually had the perfect opportunity to do when he gives you an axe in the middle of some tree stumps and logs in this area completely enclosed in trees. Might have been a good idea to maybe let the player chop down a tree to open a path out of here or even find a secret, but nope. There are some puzzles which you would expect in a game developed by the man who invented puzzles.
In this house, we solve puzzles. And we don't look up the answers.
There's this log puzzle, which people have kinda shit on for being so easy, but honestly I see it more as just teaching the player some objects are movable. Then there's this one in the Tower Corp episode that has also been memed on a lot. The idea is you're stuck in this office and you need to find a combination to this keypad here to get out. I guess Thor thought he was so clever some people wouldn't figure it out, so one of the clues tells you to just enter a bunch of ones and that'll work too.
In this house, we solve puzzles.
Again, I actually didn't think that this puzzle was so bad, except the last clue I didn't quite understand. The fourth and final is a 40 where love sets the stage. Clearly a tennis reference. The obvious answer is 4 because love is 0, and I guess you could assume sets the stage means isn't there? Eventually I gave up and just started guessing all the numbers for the last digit,
In this house, we solve puzzles.
and turns out it was 3. I really didn't understand how I was supposed to get 3 from this, so I looked it up, sorry Thor,
And we don't look up the answers.
and apparently it's because scoring in tennis goes 15, 30, 40, which I knew because I was a fiend in Mario Tennis, but I don't know, I think it's a bit of a stretch. The rest of the gameplay is honestly just chores. For example, the IT guy wants you to go around the office finding rubber ducks. For the uninformed, there's this thing in programming and I assume other professions called rubber ducking the problem, where you try to explain the problem to a rubber duck, simplifying it to the point where the duck can understand it. In so doing, you will often find your solution. When I was in university, I had a job teaching coding at an after-school program, and teaching Visual Basic to a bunch of 10-year-olds was a bigger skill check than I expected, but it's the same concept as the rubber duck. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. In Furry Forest, Animus, you have to go around asking these animals for help to repair a pocket watch. So you walk around an admittedly nice-looking forest with good music, yapping to these animals asking for help. This would have been a perfect opportunity for some gameplay. When you fix the watch, have the player complete a minigame, some kind of gearbox puzzle to fix the mechanism inside. But I get it, the game's in early access, it's only been in development for 8 years, you can't expect all the bells and whistles like gameplay or mechanics. So with the game being essentially devoid of mechanics, that puts the burden of fun on the writing. Thor said himself that it's what takes the most work,
Game's bottleneck isn't programming, it's writing.
which is strange because the dialogue of Heartbound isn't any better than the gameplay. We have attempts at humor like awful millennial jokes, tired Reddit memes, and dated references. So dated that I can't help but wonder if maybe they're not references so much as attempts by Thor to pass them off as his own. There's an achievement called Shoe Gaskets 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's a reference to an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. Actually, apparently it's from this movie, but let's be honest. It was popularized by Always Sunny. There's nothing inherently wrong with using references, I've done it in this very video, but it's a less is more kind of thing. Being conversationally funny and writing funny dialogue are two very different skills, but if the jokes aren't landing, just cut it. I do it all the time. I should pirate this software. I wish I could pirate this software. I should have pirate this software. There's egregiously cheesy friendship is magic slop that has no emotional resonance because the game doesn't draw you in enough to care what happens to these characters. There's this moment here just before you go back inside between the main character Lore and his dog Baron, where the dog basically says, "Hey dude, you're my best friend. We'll always be best friends. Right, best friend?" Like, okay dude, we get it, the dog's not gonna make it. And just in case that wasn't obvious enough, 30 seconds later he does it again. "Whatever happens, we'll always be together, bro." And the thing is, something like this might be effective an hour into the game after you've actually seen Lore and Baron work together to overcome some challenge, or at the end of the game after Lore has had to figure out how to succeed on his own and how difficult it was. But as it is, the moment just isn't earned. It's lazy writing. Then there's this very on-the-nose, corporation's bad type stuff. In Tower Corp, whenever you complete a chore, you get sent to another department, and every time you do, you're told you're not very good at following instructions. Eventually, you get told that you're so bad, you must be a manager. Get it? Because managers are useless and incompetent. So you're told to head upstairs where the managers work, except the elevator door doesn't open. So somebody that you know has to open it for you. Get it? Because you can't advance your career unless you know someone. Get it? But we've already been promoted. The elevator just doesn't work. So the point kind of falls flat. And you know, this is fucking rich coming from this Nepo baby. Speaking of rich, I'm guessing sometime during the development of this episode, Thor learned about rich text because he randomly starts using it everywhere. The mind boggles at how anybody can look at this and think there's somehow 8 years of industry veteran work here. There's like 6 months, tops. He even has the audacity to brag about how hard he works in the end screen. Really, dude, because all I ever see you do is not click mana gems. I think it's important to remember that Thor was not a game developer at Blizzard. He mostly did QA and security, and part of that is social engineering, convincing people to give him things they shouldn't.
Money!
And I'm sorry to say that if you contributed to the Kickstarter or subscribed to his Twitch channel wanting to support Heartbound, you got. But you don't have to keep getting got. Even if, by some miracle, Pirate Software does eventually complete Heartbound, it still won't be worth playing because he doesn't have a content problem, he doesn't even necessarily have a programming problem. He has a game design problem. Heartbound is not fun. Heartbound sucks and you shouldn't play it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.